Thanks for having me. So I thought I had a laser pointer. I have a vape pen. Take my vape pen everywhere with me. So yeah, no laser pointer. So if anyone would like some AC/DC, feel free to see me after the presentation. But I thought that was funny because I was like, well, that's something that I get to say happens in my field. So I'll tell you guys a little bit about Subzero Scientific, kind of how we started. Our founder, Luce, I'm the vice president of sales and marketing. And my name is Carlee Curtin. My background was from Silicon Valley in New York, working with tech startups, and decided to move out to Portland to join the cannabis industry, which I'm really happy to be here. So I joined Subzero Scientific because I think that oil is kind of the way of the future for the industry. I feel really passionately about that. I also feel like medicine, oil, the pills, the edibles, all of that is going to be increasingly more and more popular. So at Subzero Scientific, we created an extractor to remove oil from the cannabis plants. So that started, our founder, really creative guy, loved cannabis oil, did not like the idea of burning his arms off. And that was really the only way to get cannabis oil, was to do what they called open blasting, which is very dangerous. And he said, there's got to be a better way. How can I make this a safer process? How can we use, our knowledge of butane, our knowledge of, cold and heat, and really make something that works so that somebody can safely extract oil for their patients. And like I said, as we see the technology getting more and more popular, as we see the product getting more and more popular, we're seeing more and more people make oil, which by probability, it could be more dangerous if there aren't safe, effective systems out there in order to get the oil extracted. So this is what our system looks like. It is made of surgical steel, welded by an ASME welder, ready for the pressures of butane or propane, because both of those run at a PSI that you would not want to take lightly. I don't think that anyone should be scared using our system. We've got the safest system on the market. Everyone feels I feel very safe. But at the same time, we do take a lot of caution, safety testing every single machine before it goes out the door, because at the end of the day, we have a lot of responsibility to our industry. The media goes crazy when they can find a good story of someone blowing themselves up making oil. So we want to make sure that we make less and less of those stories. Of course, most of those are from people just doing crazy things, but our system is really, really safe. I won't go through. One thing also about the safety of it is the cleanliness of oil. Open blasting, which was what was available, you use butane cans, and there's mystery oil in butane cans. They use it to fill the bottles. It's not for your lungs, it's not for your body, it's not good for you. So the first thing that we decided to do is find a way to distill that solvent so that all that mystery oil comes out and you're dealing with pure butane or pure propane versus that. So that was a real priority in the design of our system. I probably won't go through all the way it works, but essentially, after you distill the butane, so you have a safe, really safe butane to work with, you'll then just run the bud through a column that's packed with usually either 1, 2, or 5 pounds of cannabis, of leaf. You can either use trim or full bud, but you'll run the butane through. Butane, what it does essentially, I don't want to oversimplify it or overcomplicate it, but the butane runs through the plant. You soak it with the plant, okay? It's in there with it. Butane then kind of, for lack of better terms, attaches the oil, attaches to the butane, okay? And it comes out. There's dry ice and isopropyl alcohol with making sub-zero freezing temperatures around that column. So therefore, the cold keeps the wax and the impurities in the column, allowing nothing but the butane and the pure oil to come out, if that makes sense. So that way, you don't have wax. Nobody wants to inhale wax, especially when you see the amount. You can't smoke wax on a daily basis, I can assure you that. So nobody needs to be doing that. So anyway, that's our main goal. You get the freezing temperatures, it holds the wax, pulls away the lipids, all the impurities, and then all that comes out is that butane and that oil. Then you recover the butane back. You don't want to leave that in there because nobody really wants to smoke butane either. So we take the butane back out and it separates. And what you're left with, and I would do a demo for y'all, but this is like a 3-hour process, 2 to 3 hours. So that was like, we're just going to do fast forward. But it makes the oil. That's what everybody loves to see. Lots of Instagram likes on the pours. So everyone loves those. So you get an oil pour, Usually the yield is about 20%, sometimes 30% with a little bit of good product, 10% with bad, but that oil comes out. You then purge it in an oven to get the butane out, and you get beautiful, perfect. It's either going to be snap and pull, it can be, there's a lot of different types of oil that comes out based on the product that you put in it. We have a focus on CBD. CBD strains. So that is a Subzero Scientific butane oil extractor. Yeah. Talk pretty fast for someone from the South. Yeah. So your first question I see in the back.
Yeah, between the difference of CO2 extraction versus butane. And then secondary question, do you use leaf or bud, or what do you put into extract?
I'll answer the second question first. Her second question was whether we use leaf or bud or trim in our extractors, and the second one is what's the difference between us and CO2. First, you can put whatever you want in there and you're going to get what you put in out of there. You can do a full run. That's kind of where the machine makes the most money for the growers and for the extractors, is they'll put trim in that they would normally just throw away and still get out a 10 to 15% yield of oil that's just as strong and just as good as the ones that come from bud. There's just less of it. If you put really good bud in there, you're going to get a 30% yield. So it is with butane, what you put in is what you get out. So you put in bad product, you get out mediocre oil. You put in good product, you get out great oil. So it really is very it's unadulterated in a lot of ways, or unaltered in a lot of ways, because you're going to have the for the guys that love oil and the artisanal side of it, that control is what they love. Versus CO2, I don't know a lot about CO2 technology, except that they are, I've heard that, it does strip more of the terpenes, so you're going to have more of, but it is really good for mass production. So I think that for CO2, when I think about CO2, they're more expensive machines, and they do run at an extremely high pressure that requires a real facility. I mean, you wouldn't want to run a CO2 machine out in your backyard, okay? Because it would take out a square block if it did blow up. But they're made extremely well. They're very expensive, so they're used for more high volume facilities. And then what you put in is just, it's a little more consistent. You'll throw a bunch of product in and you'll get some form of oil out, but it may not have the flavors and the sort of artisanal quality that BHO, which butane or propane oil, will have. That's as much as I know, but I hope that answered your question. Yeah.
You know, and this may be more of a legislative, it is a legislative question. Do you know, as far as the regulation and licensing goes, if home extraction is going to be allowed in Oregon as the law comes into play?
Will not be, no. He's asking if you can do home extraction, and the answer is no, not legally. I have a feeling a lot of people still will. I think a lot of people right now are using our machine that we aren't necessarily in a lab, but it is safe to use in a home, I would say, but I wouldn't recommend it. You're supposed to have some sort of ventilated lab. I mean, you are at the end, I see people doing it. We had a customer that is in even if you should be out in a garage, you definitely need a ventilated space. So I get frustrated if I see someone in a kitchen extracting. I'm like, don't do that. That's it's a machine, put it out in the shed. And a lab would be ideal. Nice lab with ventilation. Yeah.
Why do you focus on CBD rather than THC?
Oh, he asked why.
Last question.
Last question. Why do we focus on CBD instead of THC? Because we like it. Yeah. We just love CBD. It's like our crew just kind of likes it. It's just we have a lot of strong beliefs around the effects, and and it sells for a lot. It's expensive, so if you're producing it, you're in good shape. Yeah, one more.
Okay, one more.
Where'd you get your dress?
My dress is from a designer called Clover Canyon out of Los Angeles.